Hey, good evening, everybody. It's probably about 1:30 a.m. on Friday. I think it's January. Is today's the 10th, I think, right? January 10th? Do you know, Mad? Oh, well, right now it's the 11th, so I'm sitting here on my kitchen table with my daughter, Madeline, and tonight what I want to talk to you about is in the past, I want to say few weeks, there's been like a whole lot of wild energy going on in terms of a ton of transformation. Now, when I say transformation, I'm talking about internal soul transformation, but I'm also talking about that. I'm talking about transformation, meaning a whole bunch of turmoil and stuff in the world, as well as transformation in terms of people crossing over death and dying. And in this last week, I would probably say most of my clients, it's been so strange. If you haven't noticed, there'll be a lot of people that you know, all of a sudden they pop up, or on the TV it pops up, or somebody you know as somebody who has passed away. So there's a lot of death, dying, transformation going on right now. And this has to do with Mars Pluto energy. And all of the and astrological influences that are going on in basically in the stars or in the sky, that are affecting. They're affecting what is happening here in Earth world. So both on a personal level and a high end, a whole entire all that is level. Okay, so these are the catalysts to make these change happen. And Pluto, Mars, Saturn, Jupiter, all these amazing energies, as well as this moon eclipse, is also part of all of this stuff going on. So what I wanted to talk to you about today is about death, dying, and transformation, and the importance of being a medium. Being a medium is when you can talk to souls that have crossed over. Crossed over meaning souls, meaning people who have left Earth world dimension and crossed over into a different dimension. As a general rule, there is Earth world dimension, and there's a 3 to 4 day lapse in there, where a soul transforms and crosses over. So tonight, what I wanted to talk to you is the importance of doing medium work, because this work that people do as mediums is extremely healing. When I say healing, it helps people to understand that doing medium work assists people. Okay, it assists them in so many different ways to work through any kind of issues that they had with the person who is now passed on or crossed over, questions that they had, misunderstandings. Why did this happen? Are you in pain anymore? Or why are you hurting? These are all the questions that come up, many of them, as well as trying to figure out why somebody died, how they died, what was the physical cause. Was it murder? Was it an accident? Was it just, very simply that they passed away of old age, or died in their sleep, or they needed to just needed to go, because ultimately one's soul makes the decision totally by itself without anything anybody else does. So there you can say, well, I influenced this, or I created this to happen. Not really. Ultimately, the soul itself decides when it's going to cross over, and when it's going to cross over, meaning leave this dimension, and nobody else's influence is going to change that. Okay, a lot of people say, well, if I was just there, if I could have just done this, if I could have just done that, if I had only done this different, or why didn't I be there? Or can you answer a question like this? It could have been so different and I could have saved them. And the truth is, no. Universe with love energy that is God creates what it is that must happen for a soul to exit. So to give you an example, when my father passed away, all right, I was really, really, really close to my dad all of my life. He was and is an amazing, amazing man. And I miss him huge, 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 huge. Okay. And when he crossed over, everything was in alignment. My mother had gotten in a really bad accident and was in the hospital. My sister was over in Spain. I was with my two babies. Actually, was it two? Did I have two? No, I had one baby. I think it was my first daughter, right? So I had my first daughter, and I couldn't leave because my father had shingles. And so the what happened is universe and our souls made everything the perfect storm for my father to be able to leave, because I couldn't bring my daughter to see my dad because the health practitioners were like, you can't go bring your daughter to see your dad or bring her up there because of the shingles, and if she gets shingles, it's very dangerous for babies. And I mean, this is at the time, this is what the doctors told me. So I'm in this space of believing earth world belief systems, right? And I am also in this space of trying to get to see my dad. I want to see him. I want to make sure he's okay. I know that he's really sick. My brother takes him to the hospital. But again, it's the perfect storm because our souls design this like this. Our souls design it, all right, with love energy that is God, so that I was not there when my father crossed over. Why? So that he would leave. Because if I'm here, I'm going to use my metaphysical magic in my soul, or the opportunity to do so is there. And that is not always what is best for him. Ultimately, it's his soul journey, right? It's his soul journey. Okay. And, from a place of love, I got to know when to let go, when to not go. But in the space I was in back then, when my father passed away, I was not ready to do that. I didn't want to let him go, and therefore his soul created the perfect storm, the ability for him to exit, because my mom was over here, my sister's over here, I'm over here with my children, and the only one there was my brother at the time. And so it was the perfect design by love energy so that my father would cross over. Okay. And this is really how it happens. So there's nothing that any of us could have done any differently to stop this from happening. If my father is ready to go and his soul's ready to cross over, he is going to go. And it is his journey, his decision. As much as I, from love, I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to lose my dad. I want to keep my dad here. I love my dad. Totally get that and understand that. But really, this is the law of love energy, and this is how things really work, okay? So when your soul is ready, nobody is responsible for that soul leaving except for that soul. So know this when you have somebody that you love and you think, oh, I could have saved him, or I could have done something different, or if I only called the paramedics 5 minutes earlier, or if I only did this, or if I only could have done that. No. If and when it's time for a soul to go, it goes on its own, what do you call it? Its own or decision-making, I guess, process, right? So it decides when it's going to leave, okay? So that said, I wanted to also not just talk about that so that you understand that when it comes to death and dying, part of this process. Also, souls, when they cross over, all right, there's a usual earth world vibration and metaphysical vibration where things meet. It's usually a 3 to 4 day process when a soul leaves the body and crosses over. So it will come back, it will go, it will be around the people that love it and it loves, and in the lifetime that it is leaving. So many times people will say, well, I like if the person that they love is in a coma and they're in the process of crossing over, what will happen is, whether they have Alzheimer's or dementia or they're unconscious, their soul will come in and out. It'll go into the body, it will come out. It will like what universe tells me is acclimate. It will acclimate to leaving this earth world dimension. And again, it's the number 3 and the number 4. The number 3 is the number of active God. So this is about change, transformation. And number 4 is about completion, the square. Okay, triangle points up to the heavens, active God. Okay, and again, a square is about solid, being solid in that space, totally square, completion. Okay, squares are about completion. That's the number 4, 4 sides, square. 4 is about completion. Also, 4 is a number for enlightenment as well. Okay, this is what Universe guides me to teach in this particular YouTube about numerology in reference to this, okay, in reference to death, dying, and transformation, so everybody can understand. Now, it can be 4 days, 4 minutes, 3 days, 3 minutes, 3 weeks, 3 months, 6 months, depending on whatever the soul really wants. But as a general rule, it's usually 3 to 4. It's a transformation period. You will really feel a soul around you. And one of the reasons they do this is so that they can acclimate, because when you cross over into a different dimension, many times for many souls, it is like it is equivalent to this. Universe tells me. Did you ever wake up in the night or do what they call astral traveling, or you wake up and you sleep so heavy, you wake up and you don't know where you are and you're a little discombobulated and disoriented? That's what happens when a soul crosses dimensional barriers. Okay, so this is what Universe tells me many times. That is what happens. Now, there's exceptions to every rule, and everything is particular to that one, that unique soul. Okay, so my soul is unique, your soul is unique, but whoever it is that is crossing over, okay, this is how things truly work for all. Okay, as a general rule. Okay, so it's to let everybody know how the process and how things go. And that said, I wanted to get back into talking about the work that I do, because just like me talking about the stuff that I'm talking about right now, answering questions about death and dying and crossing over, giving you a better understanding of what happens with the soul leaves the body. One of the reasons it does this is so that it helps to understand and acclimate to the new dimension and leaving the old one, leaving the physical body behind, as well as making sure, all right, checking in with the other souls whom it loves in this lifetime. It's almost like sometimes it's like a saying goodbye process. Sometimes it is a, what do you call it? It's a saying goodbye process, but it is also, what is the word I'm looking for? Thank you, Spirit, for bringing it back in now, please. The words, saying goodbye process, acclimating, and there's something else. Please bring me back to that now, please, Spirit, in the best way for me and all, or something better. And the answer will come to us. But it is in, making sure that the people that they love is okay, that they're okay. And sometimes the soul just has to get into that energy and be around the person, even though they're not here in Earth World. Feel that energy, be in that energy, so they can cross over. And so the process is complete from love. So this is part of all the grand design of love and how death and dying truly works. And being a medium allows me to be able to explain this to you guys. All right. So any kind of medium work that I do, whether I talk to somebody who crossed over 20 years ago, or somebody who crossed over 5 minutes ago, or help somebody through the process with their family member dying and am right there when they die or pass away or cross over, whether it's your dog, your pet, your mother, your father, this is all the work that I do. And it's designed by love energy that is God to help people heal themselves. Okay. And work through, understand, heal within here, the loss, the grieving, the dying, the whole process of all that, okay? So it helps us understand all these things. It helps us be able to move forward, to let go, to have questions answered that nobody else can answer by hooking up to that highest form of love energy. Now, well, because I'm a medium doesn't mean that nobody else is. It means everybody can do this work. All you have to do is ask and you shall receive. This is the truth about how these things work, okay? So I wanted to take this YouTube time to talk to you about this and the importance of being a medium, and and the work that I do, because I'm able to answer questions that no one else can answer based in love. Of course, then there's people who say, well, I don't believe that that's true. But what happens is they will tell you things that you can connect with, whether it's favorite foods, clothes that the person used to wear, best times that you had, memories, understanding questions, and the biggest thing that they always say, the person who is crossing over or who has crossed over, is that they want you to know that they're okay, they're totally fine, they're around you all the time, and they love you so much, right? Those are like the three most important things that you could ever want to hear. And you may say, well, did they think that I was there for them? Of course they did. Of course they did. There is no doubt in my mind. Sometimes they have some reservations, but not in reference to that. You'd be amazed at the stuff because it's unique to the individual, and everything is about love, especially when they cross over and understand all worlds and all that is from the space that is outside of this earth world as opposed to being in it. Think about it like this. When you're in your emotional space, you're in that space. It makes it sometimes harder to function. If we're upset or we're crazy with something or we're wild or we're having intense emotions, it makes it harder for us to communicate, to talk, to feel. Well, the same thing is true when you're crossing over, okay? If you are separate, all right, from earth world, then and you understand love because now you're submerged in a different understanding of love that is different from earth world, right? When you're in this space of that different understanding, right? When you're in that space, it is easier to take a look at. Hindsight, like they say, is 20/20 because you're still emotionally involved, but you're removed because you're in a different love energy space. You feel differently. You're able to process and feel and think in a different way. All of these things are different now energetically, and you are not in the same earth world way of doing things. Okay, so tonight's video was about being a medium and the gifts, and understanding some of the gifts and sharing those things with you, so you understand the importance of doing medium work because it helps people to understand, to have questions answered, to be able to heal, all right, within themselves and grieve in the healthiest way possible and get the answers that only universe or love energy that is God in the highest form can answer. Okay, so if you want medium gifts, ask love energy for that. If you want to do this kind of work, ask love energy that you can. All right, but I will not lie to you. Like this whole week has really been truly a lot of crossing over. I had a client with two cats. One just passed away. I had to help her through another one's crossing over, and it's a lot. It's very heavy, because it's very emotional. It's intense. It's very intense. Another client's mother passed away from was an ex-drug addict and passed away from congestive heart failure, but I'm able to answer all these questions for people even when the medical world can't, what is going on, why this is going on metaphysically, why what happened, and these answers are priceless for everybody, okay? Because everything here is about love and helping people, and so is doing medium work, okay? So I just want to tell you this bit and share all of this with me, with you guys tonight. Thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, by all means ask. We will do more about death and dying, transformation, and the whole process in the future. Depends on what God or love energy guides us to. And I know it's late. I think it's like almost 2 a.m. because excuse me. Usually I have like 5 seconds in my life right now. So thank you. All right. You guys have a great night, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.